My name is Ashwinee Kalkura. I think most of you might know me or might have been connected to me on LinkedIn as well. If not, there's a time to search for me. I work for Agilemania and SPCT, which is Safe Practice Consultant. Now T is being called as Transformation Architect or Trusted Advisor or a Trainer, right? So we play multiple roles on the safe transformation journey. I'm also a professional coach, ICFPCC from the International Coaching Federation, trained more than 4,000 plus people on different safe certifications, and also consulted for multiple organizations of varying size, small to extra large, right? So S to XL is what I want to call them, or maybe double XL, triple XL as well. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. We call this initiative as Safe Thursday. So we try to choose topics which might be of interest for you, right? So again, this is something we kind of get to hear during our training courses or while consulting the organizations. I think even I have gone through multiple rounds of debate and discussion around this particular topic when I was consulting. But at the same time, within an hour we kind of do a 30 to 40 minute webinar. Within this time, I may not be able to do justice for everything that we are talking about, but idea is to put a thought on your mind. Yeah? And idea also is you can always get back to me, get back to Agilemania website for a lot of information and the stories that we have. Yeah? It's in terms of blogs. You have a YouTube channel, which I'm going to talk about at the end. Yeah. So what's this topic all about? Descaling teams on an Agile Release Train. I am a Safe Pro practice consultant trainer. So Safe is Scaled Agile Framework. The word says scaled, but I'm saying descale, right? So that's what is that thought process, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I will not keep it too much philosophical. I'll try to keep it as grounded as possible and as actionable as possible. At the same time, I'm also not going to weave some magic or a wand or anything, right? So I'll try to keep it simple to decipher. Yeah? That's a thought here. And with all that said, what's the agenda looks like? Kept it very simple and 4 slides, not too much. Maybe I'll have some stories to talk about, but nothing more than that. Yeah. So agenda is simple. Agile at scale. What are the practical challenges that we see? And what is scaling as well, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Then I will get on to the safe recommendations and how I have used some of those recommendations as a best practices, which is the next slide, in actually descaling, right? So, and what is my thought about descaling, right? And while doing all of this, there are some very simple things that we need to avoid. What are those pitfalls to avoid? I will quickly have a word around that as well. So these are the 4 slides that I have. What is Agile at scale? And what are the practical challenges that we have? And why are we even talking about scaling, right? So when we talk about scale, many a time we think only about number of people. Right? So SAFE also talks about multiple teams are working as a train, 50 to 125 people, and so on and so forth. So we kind of focus more on the number of people. For me, it's a PPT, not just the people, right? People, process, and technology. Yeah? That's a analogy that I have for PPT, not the PowerPoint presentation. Think about this. People are one part of it. Right? So people are an important part of it as well when we are developing something new. It doesn't have to be software. Anything that we build in a big way, people are part of it. We need to have the right kind of people who are working together. Yeah, this is where we have many management philosophies. Right? So at a team level, we use Scrum and Kanban, and there are a lot of scaling frameworks which have come together as well, because people need certain things to kind of start with, right? So any framework, any method, I would call it as a starting point. We need something to start with. Yeah. And finally, I think we can't get away with technology. Technology changes very rapidly. People need to learn new skills. So The challenge of scaling is not just about the people, it's also about the processes that we use and the technology. If you think about it, even a Scrum team will face this problem. The problem of scaling, even a Scrum team will face it when you talk about, say, technology. Technology changes, the new tools and new things come in. I think, in the last few months, we have been hearing a lot about Gen AI, and there are so many certifications also which have come out on the Gen AI, right? So that's a kind of an impact which we have, right? How do we make sure that these things are taken care of? And in fact, processes itself, while Scrum says Scrum is simple, it also says, it is kind of difficult to implement many a time, because the moment you have to adapt to a new way of working, it's always going to be tough for people because there's a lot of unknowns for you. Yeah. And then the second point is an interesting one, which I have observed over and over and over again. The culture of the organization is at odds with the Agile philosophy. What is Agile philosophy? You can make your own notes around it. For me, it's about surviving and thriving. Yeah? Not just surviving, it's about surviving and thriving. For me, it's around reducing a risk very quickly, right? So it's about that part. And it's also about, the third point I want to call out is, how do we understand there is a new thing in the market, there is an opportunity in the market, how do I leverage that one? It's about agility, right? And when I say culture of an organization is at odds with, many large organizations we see, they've been there for multiple decades, or some of them have been for centuries together, right? So I have worked with few organizations which are like 140 plus year old companies. Yeah. And trust me, you can't dictate certain things there. You can't really go and say Scrum says this one on day one, right? So it's not that they don't like it. It's not that they don't want to move towards a new way of working. But at the same time, think about it. They have built, when I say they, everyone in the organization, right? Together have built a successful organization and made it stay for 140, 150 years, right? So there is something secret formula that has been working for them, right? Maybe, they are not aware of that formula, or they can't really put words into what is that formula all about, right? So, and also a word of caution. We have a bad habit of saying, okay, we need to change the culture. No, right? It's not. It doesn't change overnight, because a culture of an organization is built over a period of time, and it has helped them to grow to that size, right? At the same time, the challenges in the future could be different. And that's where, we as consultant, we as employees, we as in any role and responsibility that we carry out, we always constantly look at what could help me to move towards a new culture, right? So this is where today your organization's culture might be at odds with this philosophy of rapid change, or taking away the risk as quickly as possible, and so on and so forth. But you might have to think about, I called about 3 dimensions of it. You might have to think about what's a 4th dimension or the 5th dimension your company is good at it, and how do we become better there, right? So that's a constant endeavor that you need to have when you talk about a scale. Again, remember, I'm talking about scale not just in terms of people. It could be a small startup as well, struggling to scale in terms of technology, in terms of process as well, right? People might be the best they have, but in terms of the technology and process, if they have a glitch, if they have a roadblock, that's going to be not helping them. The last one, the market changes. I don't have to tell anything about that. COVID happened a few years back, maybe 3+ years back, right? It was a sudden thing that happened overnight, kind of, right? One day we were going to office, next day we were not supposed to go to office, right? So that was the situation. And few wars happening across the world. Today, we are in a very globalized economy, right? It's like a butterfly fluttering its wings somewhere in the world will have a repercussion on your like pond that you have at your home, right? So if you kind of look at the cause and effects, right? So you don't know what has caused, which is not helping your organization, or which is kind of to become a roadblock for your organization. So these market changes are something you'll need to think about. Again, I think most of you would realize or also be able to appreciate these facts looking at your own work as well, I guess.
Right. Ashwinee,
yeah.
One question is coming out to me since you have worked for the different organization.
Yeah.
So how you have worked for the startup as well as the large organization? How they have gone for the scaling? Different organization takes the different route to scale there.
Yeah.
Some of the key things if you can share.
Yeah. I think, I have some practices. I can quickly talk about that one in the next slides. SAFe recommends certain things. I think, every framework recommends certain things. I think Scrum has made it even more popular. Roles, events, and artifacts, right? So there are similar events like in Scrum, in SAFe as well. We have, instead of the daily Scrum or what we call as a team sync today, instead of that, you have, or corresponding to that, you have the Agile Release Train sync, and you have PA planning, which is like your sprint planning. You have a sprint review and retrospective. Likewise, you have the system demos and the inspect and adopt events, right? Roles, like Scrum Master, you have the RT, like the product owner, you have the product manager, like you have the team, you have the architects taking care of the maintainability. I think artifacts, like you have stories at a team level, you have features and NFRs, all of those things, right? SAFe also gives you an nice implementation roadmap, which is a reverse S curve, right? So where we start from training the leaders, identifying the value streams, identifying Agile Release Train, training everyone, launching the trains, coaching them, and helping them, right? So it's a nuances, right? And for the trainers and consultants who are SAFe practice consultants, there are a lot of toolkits available from a Scaled Agile perspective also to guide their implementation as well. Yeah. So when we talk about toolkits, these are ready-made templates and suggestions, and you also have certain videos and thoughts from the industry leaders, because we have seen things happening in the world for the last 10 plus years using SAFe. What has worked? What could work for you, right? So starting points again. Yeah. SAFe gives you a lot of those recommendations. I have a problem with people using those recommendations as a religion, right? So to say, right? So I should not be calling out that word, but that's what it is, right? So you kind of have something in the book and you kind of go by the book without understanding the intent behind that one, right? So idea is to really understand the intent behind each of the things. Why do we have roles? Is it a hierarchy? I think again, we confuse roles with, okay, there is titles and somebody reports to someone, there is a hierarchy. Not really, right? At every level, there has to be a kind of real clarity around what I am supposed to do. Yeah, that's what the roles do. And why events? Why so many meetings, right? So that's why I think, say, Scrum also kind of doesn't call them meetings. Rather, even earlier it was ceremonies. Now they call it as an event. Real events that are happening, right? So look at that as an opportunity for you to become better. I have my kind of famous one-liner for it, for the daily Scrum. Why do we do the daily Scrum daily? Right? So I usually say, why do you brush daily? That's my question back. Why do you brush daily? While you have a lot of opportunities throughout the day to do the brushing, and you do the brushing every day, multiple times, but why do you, once you get up in the morning, why do you go and first brush yourself, right? So why do you do it? What's the reason behind it? Daily Scrum is something of that sort. It's a hygiene factor, right? So when we talk about artifacts, we need to have certain documentation. We need to have certain codes and configurations to make sure that we are doing the right things. Yeah. Again, implementation roadmap. It's an idea around going step by step. rather than saying, okay, let's implement safe tomorrow. Rather than that, I mean, is there a better approach and a thought process behind, right? So that's the intention. And this is where I would see a connection between the best practices on how to descale. While SAFe calls it as a scaling, I would call it as descaling, because if 50 to 125 people are working together, already you have enough of a mess. I think I'm okay to call that way, because from a tools and technology perspective, everybody has their own favorites and their own biases, right? And from a skill perspective, some of us are developers, some of us are marketeers, some of us are from finance, and we don't know why we are on a SAFe team, or we are from HR and we kind of want to get involved upfront, and so on and so forth, right? So there are a lot of things that is already in a mess. So if you leave them as is without any guidelines, right? So you are asking for a disaster. I think, I mean, that's true even for a team of say 5 to 10 individuals as well. We, as an individual, we are all different people. We have to be different. I mean, there is no other way, right? And there is always a conflict when two people work together. Anything more than one person working together, there is always a conflict. There has to be a conflict. Otherwise, I mean, we are not humans, right? I would see all of them as in a positive way. But at the same time, if you leave the conflict as is, again, in terms of processes, in terms of people, in terms of technology, there is only the disaster that is waiting at the end of the tunnel for you, right? So, but how do I avoid that one? This is where some of the best practices help you to actually descale, in the sense, while you are working with more and more people, while you are working in a complex environment, while you are kind of looking at some process guidelines, what we are trying to do here is making sure that it becomes actually easy for us, not difficult, right? It actually becomes easy for us. So for me, one of the things is system demos. System demo as a mechanism for a real feedback. The more we integrate, the more problems we'll face. Trust me, if you work, you will have a problem. If any team says, okay, there is maintenance and there is defect, I'll actually be happy to start with. That means that there is somebody who is using it and somebody who has reported a defect. Rather than I just keep on adding things and nobody is using it. Rather, I mean, I would want someone to use it. I think, Ravi, you had a question on how do we scale, again, a startup to a large organization. I would have instead of system demos, I would replace it with MEPs, or minimum viable products, right? I think, I mean, most startups fail not because of money, but because of the experiments they didn't do during the time they had, right? So I think every entrepreneur who is onto something new, they always know the deadline for them. Trust me, I mean, intuitively, or I mean, with the markets, I mean, they know the deadline for them. And typically for any startup, 2 to 6 months is the time whether you will know you will be dead, or I mean, you will move forward. At least, I mean, move forward into the next inch, right? The 2 to 6 months is a period for them to go to the next orbit. When they go to the next orbit, again, there is 2 to 6 months to go to the very next orbit for them, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Do I get money from the investors? I mean, will I be able to raise funds? I think, I mean, that happens within that 2 to 6 months. So unless, I mean, you kind of do a lot of experiments and push out MVPs, again, remember, MEPs doesn't have to be an actual product itself, right? It could be a viral video as well, right? So as simple as that. I think most of us know the Dropbox's story. It was a YouTube video the founder pushed out as an MVP, right? So just to understand the pulse of the market. Then only, I mean, he started building it. Yeah. So for me, how much did I experiment, or how much I did not experiment, actually makes or breaks it for us, right? So that's a reality. And for the teams which are implementing Scrum at a team level or SAFe at the train level, if you don't have a mechanism of demos, a system demo, at least at the end of the iteration, again, I'm saying at least, if you can do it every once in a while, there is nothing like it. And for Scrum teams, don't take me wrong, If you're doing a demo only once in a sprint, you are too lazy. You're not doing anything, right? It's passe, right? So doing a demo at the end of the sprint was 20 years back, or 10 years back. Today, you have to have those informal demos every once in a while, or every build you make, right? Every code, every line of code you push to the main line should create a build, should give you a feedback. It doesn't have to be a demo where you all get into a room and showcase something to the product owner. It can be a mail triggered saying that, okay, this build is successful, everything is green. That itself is a demo for you, right? So are you doing that one? If you're not doing that one, trust me, you will be a dinosaur soon, right? So, I might sound too dramatic, but that's what it is.
Yeah. And I think you have to do the very frequent demo so that will give the confidence to the customer.
Yes, confidence.
How you are progressing it.
Yeah. Again, demo could be a marketing campaign as well, right? So you are keeping that interest on. I think, even for this webinar, we had...
You are right. The interest on is the keyword that you have spoken of.
Exactly.
That drive this stuff.
Yeah.
Agree.
There were 45 people who registered for this one. We made sure that, even today morning, we had sent out a mail. I also posted on LinkedIn, and few people have said, okay, do we have the recording? And usually the thumb rule is if 50 people register, around 10 to 20% turnout, right? So that's a thumb rule that I have, right? It's not that I'm bad or you are bad. We all get into, because of this hybrid nature of the work, last minute, so many things come up, and I think webinar is the last thing that you want to attend on a Wednesday evening, right? But happy that almost 16 of you could make it, right? That's a record, 33% almost, right? Yeah. So another one is inspect and adapt. Usually, again, my words of wisdom or my own biased opinion, the second highest sin that you do in an agile team, be it Scrum or Safe, is not having a retrospective. Always, it's very easy to say, we are in a hurry, we are already late, let's not do the retrospective one time. It is okay, right? So it's very easy to say. Somehow, demos do happen because customer is waiting or your PO is waiting. You have to show something at the end of a sprint. You would definitely do it. Planning, you have to do it. Otherwise, developers are not going to take up the work, right? Daily Scrum, as a habit, as a ritual, somehow it gets ingrained, and maybe because others are watching, you will at least go and stand near the board. Again, if I'm calling out your bluff, don't just put stones on me, all right? But I think retrospective is something we always kind of somehow avoid it, right? So that's the second highest sin that I would say. I think somebody would have had a question already. What's the highest sin a Scrum team or a Safe team can do, right? It's actually doing, it's
importance doing... You will have to understand importance of retrospective, and what is missing is people feel that this is something a waste of time.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no productivity, but really if you'll go for that, there's a lot of action item. What went wrong? You are taking it up.
Yeah.
That's the key driver. That's how you can able to go for the further improvement.
Sure. And trust me, the highest sin is you do the retrospective but don't take an action out of it.
Yes.
You always do a retrospective. You always ask those 3 questions as a Shobha when you...
Yes. And next item, retrospective, same thing as again a PM.
Yeah.
You're not taking.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Sure.
Yeah. So most of the time it will be just there in the mural or whiteboard.
Yeah.
Okay. People will be proactive, but when it comes to taking the actions on those, improvement and those.
I heard you guys talking about noting down just the retrospective points and not taking actions on it.
Yes.
Well, I have something which I have done recently, which is, turning out results, and we are putting it into action.
Sure.
What we are doing in the current Agile Jira board, what we are having, the Easy Agile, we are turning those action items into stories.
Yeah, true.
So it is being assigned, and it is assigned to a sprint right then and there. If it is not to be done when, it is actually sequenced.
Yeah.
And it's taken into action. We do that, and it works wonder.
Yeah, thanks for calling out. I mean, Scrum already says, action items and improvements have to be put it into the backlog. I think, we selectively read, right? So we selectively read what works well for us. We read that one. What doesn't work so well for us, we kind of skip that one and say it's okay, right? I think, that's something. Yeah.
There is an epic example what Shelza has explained. Okay, I have seen a team where they found it that they should start working on automation testing, and their unit testing needs to go in an automated way to reduce the whole lead time. Okay, they have put it from the improvement, from the retrospection, they have created the story, they have put it in the next sprint to implement into it, and it got spill over sprint over sprint.
Yeah.
That's one of the epic example. So definitely, I think here the Scrum Master as well as technical team plays a crucial role, that how if there is some technical challenges also. So definitely, a little bit push is required. Sometimes we cannot say that all the time empowerment works, but little bit push also has to be there.
Agility starts with command and control.
Yeah.
So again, as an
observation, Ashwinee.
No, see, if I'm an external consultant, I'm there for a short time, right? So
indeed,
I'm put into a task saying that, okay, within 3 months we want to see this one. I have to be very, very honest with what I'm talking about, right? So if you are not taking an action, whom are you writing those actions for? Right? If you are not writing action for yourself, don't even write that, right? So I think, Ravi brought out a nice point that, okay, we do well. Every Scrum team mostly does well, but at the same time, there are things, we can do even better, right? Why not think about that? It's not a problem that you have. Rather, it's about, I think, as an individual, we always want to become masters of a trade, right? So why not, right? So why not the teams also think like that? And I have a problem with Scrum Masters being a professional coach only, the listener only, and XYZ only. It's not about X or Y. It's about A to Z everything, right? So based on the certain conditions, you will have to call out, you will have to become a police, you will have to become a thief maybe sometime, right? So I think Shobha also called it out, right? It's again not about just the Scrum Master, even the team. Again, maybe asking a question, okay, we have these action items. Do we want to take it up or not take it up? Right?
Yeah.
So if you don't want to take it up, let's not take it up itself. Right? So why not call out that? Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Ashwinee.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm interrupting once again.
Yeah.
Just because you're talking on, action items being there, put into next sprint, and yeah, it does happen when you do in the beginning. It does happen. Yeah. But as a Scrum Master, I think I'm not saying just as a Scrum Master, but also as a tech lead. If anyone is leading that, you have to lead by an example.
Exactly.
What we did exactly is, there was one such scenario. What happened is the story was getting rolled over because it was a technical issue with a different team. The follow-up was, they were just complaining that we are not getting proper responses. This has been pending from the last sprint. So I said there is a better way of how you can do it. It wouldn't have taken you more than 10 or 15 minutes to do it. Yeah. Exemplified right then and there in the call by reaching out to the right person and getting that work done the same day.
Yeah.
As a Scrum Master, I did it.
Yeah.
My job is to remove impediments. So giving an example right then and there and telling the team that, you have a Scrum Master, you need to call out that I have this obstacle. And as a tech lead, if your team has told you that, that this is an issue or a retrospective thing that needs to be addressed, you can't keep pushing and keeping it till the next year. Yeah. So that also is to be prioritized by the tech lead with a few aspects which can be enhanced along with the existing deliverables in hand. So you have to categorize the timings and the resources accordingly. I believe that, and I actually tried working on that, and it works for me.
And just talk a philosophy, right? So you have to, and in fact, Scrum or Safe is a work. I mean, any framework is a work. I mean, it's not just theory. It's not just the events and artifacts and whatnot, right? I mean, you have to get your hands dirty. As simple as that, right?
One thing I want to add, Ashwinee and the team, that's a very interesting thing on the side. And the interesting fact is, as every individuals or every roles and responsibility have changed over the time and over the last decades, the beautifully technology that enhancement has happened over the time, right? So does the Scrum Masters roles and responsibility have changed drastically, right? And that brings in a beautiful questions back to all of us. It's when we talk about descaling on a best practices, how do we engage our stakeholders? How do we push back and talk about the ownership and the risk and time management that we do? You just cannot fall back on a one single person and put it back through and saying, hey, I have my templates ready. You should have utilized it. It is not that way around. Right? It has to be both the ways. Handshake has to basically, and the handshake has to happen through. Otherwise, it makes no sense for anyone. I mean, everybody has a center of excellence team, and they have their templates ready. And on a very tight project schedules, we say that, hey, why you should have come back to COE and taken a template and get it done. But the other way around is, it's when we do a project reporting on the side on a senior level, well, it's our R&R to talk about go into those projects, see those deadlines, and help the team to revive back. That's how we talk about top-down approach and we talk about a bottom-up approach, which probably that will help. How do we achieve this best practices getting implemented on a very minute level?
Yeah. And finally, I mean, you need to have those friends in need. It could be an
indeed. Indeed.
Again, I'm not talking about the real life friendships. I mean, this friendship is very professional and it's very hard one, right? So it's a task orientation, right? That's what.
There is one more thing I would like to add with respect to retrospective.
Yeah.
So I have observed this with. So there was one Scrum team I was part of as a Scrum Master, and it was kind of there was developers from 3 countries and 3 continents rather, and over a period of time, what I've observed, whenever there is an issue or there is a blocker that team raises or in the retrospective, what pattern I've seen that they are only focusing on external parameter, right? So I heard, and then what I did is like each retrospective, I took only one action item, and I asked, I used that circle of influence and circle that part of thing, and I coached the team that okay, this is the problem. This is something what we can do as a team, because we have already escalated rather to the org level that this is something which need to be sorted out, and as you all guys know, there is a roadmap for that. I'm not getting into detail, I'm just giving you a very high level view. It may take time. So what we can do as a team, should we list everyone, can everyone share one action item we can do as a team? Then they started thinking. So whenever there is action item, I have this column which say what action is within our team. Let's focus on that. So that actually, some people, just like some Scrum Masters, I'm not telling about us, but few who are new to the role, they're like, it's like Scrum Master need to own that. So sometimes it is also very important that if something is very technical, let them come out with something that as a team we can do. So that is one thing I am focusing, and it's really helping us. So this is actually, we have to smartly ask questions to the team and ask them to own it.
Yeah, sure.
I just want to share with the team. Thanks.
Thank you. And with that, I'll come to the last one, right? So pitfalls, complacency. I think that's what we have been talking about it. Framework is just an enabler. It's not the end goal. You are not implementing Scrum. You are not implementing Safe. You are implementing using them as a vehicles or tools for you to achieve the value at the end of the day, right? So think about that, and then framework becomes just a just a mean. It's not the end goal that you have, right? So IP iteration, or the time that you have for innovation, in whatever way, if you start using things as a buffer for you to fill the gaps, fix the defects and stuff, don't do that. We are always retrospective. We as humans are always retrospective. We never think about the future. That's a problem. Only, when it comes to changing a job, we think about a better future. But otherwise, we are always stuck in the present or the past. So try to get away from that mindset of the past and the present. We also need to think about the future. Okay, things are messy, we know, right? But how do we make it better in the next iteration, next PI? How do we plan better? How do we do retrospectives better? How do we take the actions better, right? So think about it as a time for you, right? So again, some 80-20 rule, right? So 20% of the time can I use to better my problems, or solve my problems, which are like 100%, but can I bring it down to 80%? Yeah. So last one, but the most important, infrequent integration, right? So again, integration, not just in terms of builds, integration of everything, in the sense, we did talk a lot about retrospective. It kind of comes out always as something we all want to, but something we all avoid, right? So the retrospective integration of that one into the actual work. So what I understood, am I using it in my day-to-day work? If I'm not doing it, again, it's a disservice for the word agility itself. So we say agile, but we are not able to, or we are not really focusing on the actions that we need to take. We are always happy to give an action item to someone else, or a scrum master, or a product owner, or a team member. But what are we doing as, say, scrum master, consultant, PO, whatever job and the role that you have, right? So try to do that one. See, end of the day, it kind of is common sense that you plan well, you execute well, and you demo well, and retrospect well. Simple, right? But common sense is not so common, so we'll need a frameworks, and multiple frameworks will crop up for you to tell, okay, this is the common sense that you need to start with, right? Again, think of any framework as a vehicle for you to simplify your people aspects, process aspects, and the technology aspects. I think, that's where we can start. Yeah? So this is the end of the story from me, but I have some announcements to make. So 21st December to 24th December, we have our next SPC class. So planning to make it hybrid, in the sense, in-person plus online. I ran one SPC class in Singapore with Scale Agile. Few people who wanted to definitely attend only that class, and they couldn't travel. So we made an arrangement where few were in Singapore, and half of the classes was in Singapore, half of the class was online throughout the world. China, Vietnam, India, Europe, and so on and so forth. That was a nice experiment for us, and a successful one too, because we were able to make the PA planning as real as it can get in the real world, where some people are working in a hybrid mode. Yeah. This class, I have an offer for anyone who's been an SPC from my class. Again, I'm putting conditions. And again, as I said, agility starts with command and control, right? So if you have been in my SPC class, and it was an online class, if you're still an SPC in good terms, so you can attend this class just by paying for food. So 4 days of food. I'm not going to take up the food bill, right? So we have to be a profitable organization, end of the day, right? So pay for food, and you can come and join if you are an SPC from my class. Or if you want to take an SPC class in person, this is a place. Or even if it is online, this is a place. Yeah. And by the way, if you don't want to attend SPC class, it's perfectly fine. But you have an option to attend a in-person meetup on 21st December. That's on a Thursday in Bangalore. We'll announce the place and venue very soon. 5 o'clock to 6:30 or 7. That's what we are thinking. We will not have really, again, we'll have a small topic, But more than the topic, I mean, it's for us to kind of come and ask me anything, right? Like it's more an AHRA session with me and Preet being there, Preet Mandale, who will be co-training with me. I think some more consultants from Agilemania also should be there. You might know some of them, Naveen, Piyush, and Satya. And some are not in Bangalore at that point in time, but let's see what happens. Yeah. But we are going to put a price for that one, small price sticker, maybe 300, 200 or something, because one thing we have seen is everybody registers, nobody turns up. Putting a price, which is
every service has a fee.
Idli vada and coffee idli vada and coffee for 2 at Darshini, right? So that's what we are putting a price as.
Yeah, I have a question, Ashwinee, for 21st December. Is there any condition for that as well?
In the sense, oh no, 21st December, there is no condition. You pay that 200, whatever, I mean, we decide and just turn up, right? Yeah. Again, that is to make sure that, I mean, we have some serious people registering and we know what the number looks like, because we'll have some snacks and tea, coffee there. So at least
surely I'm looking forward to meet Naveen, actually, because I had been following him from long time and started following you as well from the time you got associated with Agilemania. Okay. So definitely I'm looking forward for it and looking forward for the link once it will be up to register to it. Yeah.
So you're not looking forward to meet me anyway. So
yeah, definitely I am.
We will try to come, Ashwinee, sure. It's a pleasure to meet you, because we are here in this Agile Coach right position because of you, because you trained us in SPC. Yeah. So it will be really a great opportunity to meet you. So surely we'll try to come there.
Yeah. By the way, I mean, one more thing that I have not mentioned here also, I mean, we have a mentoring program launched, right? So on 4 tracks. Agile Coach, Scrum Master, Product Owner, and Enterprise Agile Coach. We'll be selecting not more than 7 to 8 people per batch, 4 of us. I'll be taking the Enterprise Agile Coach track. Agile Coach track will be taken by Padmapriya, then Satyajit will take the product ownership part, and then Atulya will take the Scrum Master mentoring track. You can still add your names, but it's on our discretion in terms of we'll have a quick talk with you, select you. It's as of now, I mean, this batch we have kept it free of cost, not charging anything on that one. The batches, I mean, will launch once in 3 months. I mean, it's a 3-month journey that you will take with us, around 15 sessions. Every week, 1 session of 2 hours. Again, we decide together as a team when and where and how, right? So mostly always online, but free of cost. But we have just asked, if you want to pay something, again, we'll take the money and use it for a meetup, right? So not a profit for motive, but giving back to the community. We want to have good Scrum Masters, Product Owners, Agile Coaches, and Enterprise Agile Coaches.
This is again in December only, or it will be like
no, planned? December 23rd is what we are launching. Yeah.
I don't, how do we register to this? Is it that I have to be a part of Agilemania?
No, not really. You can be anyone, but and follow me on LinkedIn, follow my posts, look at my posts and one of the posts. And I also have the weekly newsletters. In my weekly newsletter, I mean, there is a link for you to go and fill a simple form. That's all.
Slides related to scaling and descaling. Okay, so right now I am in a phase where I am doing the agile transformation in my organization for one of the business unit. Okay, and while doing the scaling, there are multiple Scrum Masters with whom I am working, right? So I'm facing sometimes challenges that they feel. I got this feedback from few of the Scrum Masters that they feel that I am more managerial than a coach. Okay, but at the same time I have some targets because there is a pressure from the organization to do that transformation, right? So how to handle this situation?
I don't think I'll be able to give an answer in 2-3 minutes. What you can do is, my LinkedIn profile, there is a place to schedule a 15-minute call with me.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, I'll definitely try to do that and get connected with you. Yeah, because that's a feedback I'm getting, so I think that I should work on it. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your puts as well. As I said, you can also, if you need more details, or if you need to talk to me more, so again, go to my LinkedIn profile. Wait till tomorrow. I will update my own calendar as well. If you hit my name, there is a way to, you can just click and schedule a 15-minute call with me, right? So that kind of gives a Calendly invite for you. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
you.
Bye all.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Ashwinee.
Thank you.